Hey everyone, welcome, and it's good to have you join us for our webinar series from the ground up. Today, we have Stuart and Lindsey from PHX Architecture, who are customers of Motif, and we're really excited to share their journey and their work with you all. So I'll begin by letting them introduce themselves in turn. So, Stuart, would you mind starting off? Just tell our guests who you are and what you do for PHX.
Hi, yeah. I'm Stuart John Trainer. I'm the creative director at PHX Architecture. I've been here for 14 years and I oversee the design work on our high-end custom residential and a few hospitality projects here and there.
Hi, I'm Lindsey Griffith. I've been here at PHX for 2 years now. I'm an associate architect, and I work primarily on our hospitality projects, which covers anything from golf clubs to spas to resort upgrades.
Excellent. Well, great. Thanks so much for being here with us. Would you guys mind telling us a little bit about PHX Architecture? You're based in Arizona, and just tell us a little bit about the firm and history and the customers you work
Yeah,
with.
sure. So PHX Architecture was founded in 2002 by Eric Peterson, who is our president. We had one office back then in Scottsdale, Arizona. We now have two offices. We still have our headquarters here in Scottsdale, Arizona, but we also have a office in Beverly Hills, California. We started 2002 predominantly doing high-end custom homes, but now a lot of our work is hospitality-based, hotels, spa resorts, golf clubhouses, that kind of stuff. So we're about 25 people strong, and we specialize in just high-end custom boutique design work.
Excellent. Sounds fascinating. And looking forward to learning a little bit more about the work and some of the projects that you've been working on. Just talk about like your digital tooling. Like, how have you guys approached? You do these projects. What do you use in order to get your work done?
I mean, we are Revit based. We also have CAD, but we're Revit based. We have a lot of very talented people here who specialize in Revit, but we use a lot of tools really. We still design by hand. We have Enscape, SketchUp, where we use to create 3D if we're not doing it in Revit. So really that's been our basis for the last 10 years, really, with Revit coming in about 10 years ago. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the extent of our digital range right now. Some Photoshop work.
Right. And these projects that you work on, these high-end boutique, whether it's hospitality or homes, I guess communication with clients is probably super important because they are looking for a very high-end product from you all. So how do you communicate with clients? What's been your evolution in, you know, helping people understand
Well,
your work?
I mean, so it started obviously hand sketches. Back before we even were using BIM, it would be we'd render a colored hand sketch of an elevation. But then, as BIM and SketchUp came about, we would start creating renderings. We have gone out of house to create photorealistic renderings, but that's rapidly changed within the last 6 months with the introduction of AI. We've had clients that have even sent us AI rendered images. So the AI has really changed the landscape of how we present and communicate to our clients.
I'm fascinated. Like I've heard this before, like customers sending you, "Hey, can you make this?" Like that does seem to be a new development, isn't it?
Yeah, it's scary, but as a studio, we need to decide how AI was going to be used,
Yeah.
not just in the profession, but how we were using it here in our studio. We're not going to be able to stop AI. It's a thing that really is taking over the world, but it's definitely come into architecture. clients have access to AI as anybody does, and can definitely render and generate architecture, through prompting. So as professionals, we needed to understand what that meant for us as architects and designers, and how we could use AI to not just push architecture forward, but we also need to safeguard the profession as well, from the misuse of AI. So it's been interesting, and this has all happened in the last 6 to 8 months. So
Right.
very fast moving.
We need to embrace the technology given to us, because if our clients aren't embracing it, we're going to fall behind if we don't.
Right. So Lindsey, I mean, how did you guys get started with AI? Like, you dipped your toe in the water, you tried it on a project? Like, what was the journey for you guys in starting to work with AI?
Yeah, I mean, we dabbled in a couple of different platforms just to see the output that we could get, and really push the boundaries of how we can create our concepts and bring them to life, and the best way to present to the client, visually. And so, yeah, we dabbled in a few, and we found that there was sort of this lack of architectural language that we had to learn and teach AI, that we had to figure out as we went on, as we tried different platforms. And I think that's still the hardest hurdle that we have to get through, is teaching AI, the architectural language that we've studied and embraced.
Right. We see AI as a team member. It's a very talented team member, but it's probably the most inexperienced, or it is the most inexperienced team member. So just as you would mentor any junior member of staff and check and analyze their work, that's how we approach AI. It does hallucinate. It only understands architecture on a level of what you're asking it. But obviously it's never walked through a building. It doesn't understand how light really feels and plays and comes into a space. It's never touched or smelled materials. It's a very, very talented team member, but it does take a lot of mentoring and checking and understanding how to use it.
Right. I do want to talk about how we've started working together, and what, some of the examples of but I'm definitely, intrigued by this thing of the teaching the system, I guess, your style and your language. I mean, we experience it with text, when you're trying to write something and it sends something out, then you have to kind of fashion it and say no and help it understand how you want to communicate. I guess that's true for visual communication as well, right? And particularly your own style of the way you want to present things.
Yeah, let's talk about some of that. Yeah, Lindsay's been really pushing forward using AI and to get it into a language that makes sense to PHX architecture. So
right. So Lindsay, would love to do that in the context of some of the work that you've done.
Yeah. So up on my screen, I've got a project that really we've taken from our process and how we've integrated into Motif. So we always start with a sketch and a plan. What views do we need to capture? What's important? This project specifically is a restaurant that we wanted to engage this corner entry. They wanted a new entrance. And so, we put in a sketch, and then we started looking for concept images, and nothing was really, we weren't finding anything that was explaining what we wanted to achieve with this design. And so we actually used Motif in our words, what we're thinking in our head, and we filtered it into Motif, and it came out with a couple of different concept images that we then took and put on the site. And so this comes full circle. So where we start with a sketch, we use Motif to come up with some concept images, and then as an architect, we figure out where our views are, and we begin to implement these concepts into our model. And then we then take it back into Motif so that we can give the client a realistic concept image in the actual environment and how it's going to start to feel. And you'll notice that we like to show a little bit of realism, but we don't like to show complete realism. And so we've created this concept of a sketch mixed with photorealism to just take out that boundary with the client so that they know that it's still a concept, but here's what it's like, here's what it could feel in the real environment.
Yeah, these are part of the dangers that we found with AI. It's so easy to get a photorealistic image from day one. But the danger of that is it's when you're still really understanding the space, the volumes, the forms, how the light plays on it, going right to the end is dangerous because you're missing a lot of opportunities there, and you're kind of getting too hung up on how this will actually look if it was built when you really still should be in sketch form, trying out different textures and materials and colors. So keeping it in this sketch format really just helps our clients keep in that kind of sketch form, the concept, things are changing, we're trying different things rather than get too hung up on a perfect photorealistic render.
Just, I mean, this is stunning. And so just maybe if I could ask a couple of follow-on questions, like you're doing this earlier in the process, it looks like, so that you could get feedback. And as you were saying, Stuart, it's not like you're trying to communicate a finished idea, but some kind of like proposals and just kind of like, sort of more brainstorming and ideation, if you will, at this stage.
Right. It's really the speed of what we can do now. I mean, this would have been maybe you draw something, you Google some image,
a
bunch of images, maybe you collage something, you build a model, you apply textures to it. What's happened is that the process has sped up, and that's where AI is really powerful. It enables us to test and try different things in design and really push the boundaries. And then obviously, in this profession, time is money. So the fact that we can speed this up means our designs become richer through the power of AI, not necessarily that AI is doing any of the designing at all. It just takes a lot of the heavy lifting, speeds the process up.
Right. That just one technical detail, that base picture that you've got at the bottom, is that like a photograph? Is that a CAD model? You're blending these things? Like what is that reference?
Yes, this is our Revit model through Enscape, and so we'll build the concept, and then we take it into AI because if we're presenting this to the client, we want to persuade them on the concept of interlocking. We want to persuade them on the concept that we're framing these views of the mountain, as you can see in the background, and the image, the base image. Yes, it creates a visual tool, but it doesn't give them the story that we're trying to tell. And previously we would do concept images, but when we're trying to convince a client of our story, the fact that we can produce this in a matter of a couple minutes helps us out in time and in storytelling.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's fabulous. Do you have other examples, Lindsey, that you're willing to share with us today?
Sure. We're going to pull up one of Stuart.
So this is a spec home that we've designed in Cave Creek, Arizona. And again, keeping that sketch feel, but we can start to really, the thing about this design is it really engages in the landscape. It's sitting on a mountain in Cave Creek. And it's really just how that natural topography comes. It engages in the architecture, so we can really show that here, but not in a photorealistic way. We can start hinting at some materialities and tones, textures, colors, but keeping it still very architectural in its look. And this is something that AI has been able to help us with, where this would have been many hours creating in Photoshop, which we have done in the past. So this is really a style that we're trying to develop within PHX architecture to really show still the talents of what architecture really is with the sketch look, and the lines, the colors.
It's a very distinctive style. I love the black and white and blending into color. blending into the sky. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and in Motif, because of the way it's laid out with the boards, we can see everything that we're doing, which is really what we've liked about the program. Is it's very architectural in the way it works and the way it lays out. We can just see progress. We can move images around. We can put them side to side. We can reference images in there, and it's really just a big board of design where I'd be on a drawing board with a pencil. I'm on a Motif board, bringing in images, whether it's text to image. I use text to image now to find design imagery inspiration rather than spend hours looking for images that may well be on the internet somewhere, Googling them. I'm now, text to image where I'm talking about the ideas that I have in my head for a design, and then it's producing images which I can use as inspiration images to communicate back to the client with, and then to use to design whatever it is that I'm designing. So,
and in the world of AI, right, you can produce anything that you want. And so I think our challenge was, how do we use AI and still brand ourselves? How do we make it unique to ourselves, to where maybe someone they can take the imagery, but it becomes our own. It becomes something that we've created instead of letting AI take that over for us.
Right. I mean, anybody can use AI, obviously, but how do architects and designers use AI? How do they use their training and skill and use AI to push their own limits in terms of design? And that's kind of how we've embraced AI here at PHX Architecture.
Right. No, it's amazing. And have you started using the video aspects of AI as well? Have you been able to sort of incorporate that as well?
Image in yeah, so this is a video that we created in Motif. It really showed another spec home in Cave Creek, Arizona, and allowed the client to see how the design of the home can come alive during the day, from day to night. But this was developed from an Enscape image, which we'll pull up in a second.
That's amazing. And
not that one. It's
wow,
that one. So that was the starting Enscape. This is right out of the box. SketchUp with some materials applied in SketchUp, and then ran through Enscape, and then this image was taken into Motif, and using prompts and the Runway Gen 4 Turbo video maker in Motif, we've created this. So it really is a game changer when we're communicating our designs to our clients.
It's gorgeous. Actually, what do your clients say when they see something like this?
I mean, a lot of people now are getting obviously used to seeing AI generated, but it does still blow away clients when they see this. When they're used to seeing some early concept images of sketches, and then they do see something like this, it just makes them understand the concept of what we're trying to achieve here, and it does bring to life, some of the design aspects of a home that you might not get on an elevation or even an Enscape rendering, but now we have the ability and power to really push that forward.
One thing that struck me about your examples is like the landscape is playing a pretty interesting role in all three. Like, in the last one, you almost had the realistic landscape, like literally the actual spot upon which that project stood, right?
Yeah, and then we've got examples of that, and that's really how we've been using AI a lot. We've got some homes in northern Arizona, in Utah, which we've never really been able to show them in their setting of a snowy setting. And now through the power of AI, we've been able to put projects in their natural topography and weather climates.
That's fantastic. I mean, because I it's really, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I mean, there's no better way to understand what something might look like than blending all of these elements together, right? So that's fantastic. Do you actually, when you're sharing with clients, do you send them a link? Like how do you invite feedback on the work that you do?
We usually send them the finals, and there's usually a process where if they'll make comments, and then we'll go back to the drawing board and continue to refine the architecture as well. And then the image just comes after that. So we're always refining the architecture and the language and making sure we're capturing the right amount of the correct views, daylighting, and then the image just gets refined as we refine the architecture.
Yeah, we still have our standards of what leaves the door. We do a lot of generation in the studio that never actually makes it outside to the client, but what we do send to the client it is an image. It might just be a JPEG or a package, a PDF package, and it will be just everything that we have cross-referenced and checked. It goes through many checks here because we are aware of AI hallucinations. So, we have to make sure that we monitor the quality of the work and the quality of the work after we put it through AI. And then that will get sent to the client for comment.
Excellent. I have a few more questions for you, but I also want to invite our audience, if there's any questions you have for Lindsey and Stuart, just type it into the chat. We'll do our best to get to them in the time that we have available. So maybe just describe your working with Motif, and you've shown the end results, like maybe, you guys found us. What is it that you like about the program? What is it that you wish that we did differently for you?
So the end of last year, we realized it was time to really engage AI. So there's a lot of different platforms out there, a lot of things that we'd already been using, like Adobe use AI portions to their programs. But I think the thing that drew us to Motif was it was a very architectural type platform. And by that, I mean, it really speaks to how designers and architects work, especially the whole board platform. It works well with Revit. And you can just lay images out, you can write notes, you can create mood boards. There really is endless possibilities, and we've only really, I think, touched the surface. And in the 7 months we've been using Motif, it's advanced so much in terms of the things it's introduced and what it can do, reference imaging. It records the prompts. The prompts are very important to us because, getting a right prompt to generate the image we want. We love that we can have those recorded, and other studio members can go into the boards and see how we've got to an image through looking at the settings, the presets. There's many presets in Motif that we love and use, and we're hoping you guys introduce some more presets, maybe even some that are unique to us. So it's definitely been a learning curve, but we're really enjoying all the different things that Motif keep adding.
Excellent. Well, we've learned a lot from working with you all, and certainly many of the things that are important to you about sort of creating styles and remembering prompts. Those are all things that are we're working on and will continue to do more of. I think we're interested in taking this forward into not just video, but someday doing interactive walkthroughs, things like that. That's our desire. But we've learned a lot from you, and so we really appreciated the partnership and working with you all. So.
Yeah, we've enjoyed the communication dialogue that we've had with you with our monthly meetings, and just talking through some of the things that we've done, some frustrations, some things that are working well, and it's just been a really collaborative experience so far.
Great. Just one thing, just as the Motif guy in the room, I know you've been working with us on the visualization side. This particular application also does all those drawing reviews, sheet reviews. Have you been looking at that side of the program in terms of just like the CAD work, the BIM work you guys do?
We did take a look at it, but it's not something that we've really, we haven't got into yet, but we know it exists, which is the nice thing, that we know it's there, and there are things that we haven't yet tested. I think that's what makes the program so rich, is that there's more to it than even we've been using it.
Right. Okay. Just curious, the learning curve and things like that, has that been has been straightforward to use and learn, or has it been sort of hard to get people to start using it?
No, I think some of the frustrations is just AI. I mean, I've been in this profession long enough where, I've been in it before BIM, even came out. And I think just the frustrations of hallucinations. And like I said, AI is so talented, but can be very, very stupid, for want of a better word. And it's been frustrating, but I think that's more to do with just the whole AI technology. The platform of Motif, I think, has been very simple and straightforward, and it feels very architectural to me.
I mean, there's a learning curve. We talk to it, just learning to talk to it in general, and we talk to it almost as I would talk to my toddler, right? This is a fascia. This is a concrete column, teaching it the architectural language.
Right.
And again, we sort of have to dumb it down a little bit so that it understands what we're trying to achieve. Because coming from our background, we know how something should look, and we, especially with codes and making sure that we're presenting something that is aligned to the architecture that we've studied. So I think that's been the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and it's also a program we use a lot now. I mean, personally, I almost do not use Enscape or Photoshop. It's very limited use now. Motif is a daily use program.
Wonderful.
It's drawing board and Motif, so it's really just eliminated a lot of other programs because I can just do everything in one platform, which is just much easier, and it's definitely easier to communicate with other studio members too when everything is just in kind of one place. So.
Thank you. I think that's the mic drop moment. I think I should leave it right there. That's a wonderful quote to leave it on, Stuart. Really appreciate you guys' time and sharing this amazing work. I mean, it's really, really beautiful to see the results. It just warms my heart to see the kind of the blend of architectural style and visual quality that you all have achieved. And it's been a real privilege to work with you all. Thanks for spending some time with us and the audience today, and look forward to doing much more work with you in the coming days. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's great to be here.
All right. Thanks, Lindsey. Thanks, Stuart. Be well. Cheers.
Thank you. All right. Thanks.